That's a name. So, not actually a subscriber, but good guy Barrett offered to submit a replay for him. So there we go. In the top right, as the red Zerg, we have a Balthazar. And in the bottom left, as the blue Protoss, it is Busternut. Is that like a comic Artanis? Looks like. Oh, we got ourselves a cannon rush. It is a forwardly placed forge, however, so it doesn't have to be a cannon rush. It could actually be very old school. Cannon expand. Right there's the start of a cannon rush, so Balthazar did just go for the third base instead of trying to play around in that natural with the probe. And is not going to grab a fourth base, but there's two probes in play. And so 2 cannon rushes are now underway. The poet didn't know it. That is a 2-hatch before pool. 3 hatch here. 3 hatch before pool is very bold, especially against a Protoss. You could kind of argue that you could be that greedy versus a Terran. But, versus a Protoss, it's just like the chances of them actually, well, I guess actually the chances are kind of the same. The Terran could be doing a 2 racks, the Protoss could be doing a cannon rush. That is the thing that you wouldn't want to 3-hatch against. And unfortunately, in this case, Balthazar has found himself not under sort of 1 cannon rush, but 2. And his lings are only now being produced, realizing that it is quite desperate. Starts up a lair, gets a Roachborn, adds on that second gas. Is going to go all in into the attack. And probably even a Nidus Swarm. Doesn't have to do a Nidus Swarm. But might do it. See, if this was a cannon rush here that was starting to build shield batteries and a robo and whatnot, then this is just like a back and forth tug of war situation. But since it's not, technically Balthazar could clean all of this up with even lings, because this isn't particularly well SimCity. That's not the point of it. But by adding on the Roachborn, by adding on the lair, is really saying that I'm going to attack you. And there is that Nidus Worm. There you go. Then investing into ling speed, which you kind of want to choose one or the other in this one base situation as a Zerg player. Usually you either go into pure Roach and then have a couple of Ravagers, right? Because you have enough gas to build them. Or you kind of just do like an entire ling base all in with the Nidus Worm. Having both obviously creates a kind of an awkwardness where you can't build enough Roaches and you can't really build a whole lot of Ravagers. But regardless, it's an attack. Now, Balthazar would have a very powerful attack if there was an Overlord right here. It'd be an amazing attack. But since there's only an Overlord here, this might not be amazing. Let's see. Cannon at the front. Zealots prepared. 2 more units only just now being made, so the Nidus Worm is actually going to get up. It's quite a late pull on the probes. Zealot had a big job to do, and then suddenly, this is looking quite dangerous. Finally putting those Chronos into the 2 Zealots, but 2 Zealots against a world of Lings. Even a couple of Roaches that I guess are at least they have range, right? So they're going to be very good against the Zealots. And I feel like Busternut actually just dies. What can happen here? Alright, saving the probes so far. And the probes used against the Roaches is a lot better than being used against the Lings. So I like the choices so far from Busternut. Gets 2 of the Roaches down, is working on the 3rd. 2 Zealots still in play here. The probes, though, can only help so much. Is there any reinforcements? How are there no reinforcements? I mean, I know he was only on 1 base production, but that was very late in the reinforcements. Of course, the other awkwardness about going for a Ling-based attack more than the Roach-based attack is that the Lings are especially larva heavy. And you don't have any larva when you're going for a 1-base Nidus Worm. This is going to be a hold. I applaud the patience there. To pull away the probes and not just panic and try to fight in the main and go, oh, okay, it didn't work, I guess I'm just going to tap out. Pulling them into the natural, take on the Roaches with the Zealots still alive is a very big thing there. Very big. Busternut, though, still having trouble. The Nidus Worm does go down, but down to 9 probes with the kill makes this a very awkward game. Balthazar by getting even 2 more probe kills here. How are you not even getting 1 more probe kill? Hello? Dude? Dude! The high ground! Easy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, well, I was gonna say getting even 2 more probe kills is amazing in his potential attempt to come back in this game. But instead he's gonna get no more probe kills. And then he's gonna try Nidus Worm, which I just like, what is even in the Nidus Worm? Nothing. There's nothing in the Nidus Worm. He's building 1 roach. Ooh, Balthazar is kind of all over the place at this point. If he had expanded here, as he could, then at least we'd be talking about like a potential macro game, but I guess he never cleaned up the cannon, so it's not like he could expand anywhere else. But only being stuck on 1 base is catastrophic for a Zerg player. The 1 Nidus Worm is kind of what you get. Look at this 1 roach popping out. Look at it. Look at it. Double Stalker is going to clean that up pretty quickly. And since Balthazar doesn't have a natural hatchery, he finally gets 1, like, but this could have been done. This could have been actually finished. And then he's, you know, producing, he's on 20 drones on 2 bases, producing as many as he sees fit, which would be a lot, because one thing that his Nidus Worm is doing is scouting. And you're seeing that, you know, at best they could throw a couple stalkers your way. That's not going to be really intimidating. You could have droned up really heavily in this game, but the choices have been made, and they have been incorrect choices from our Zerg player. I think it's very decisive to go for the the lair and the roach warren and the Nidus Worm. I think that was, you know, pretty strong play there. That was just like, okay, I'm gonna go for this thing, let's just do it. But probably after the first Nidus Worm, I gotta imagine that Balthazar was like, oh fuck, well now what? What do I do? Decides to put it all into the mutas, which are less larva intensive than lings, that's for sure, and even less larva intensive than roaches. So maybe you can actually spend the money you've built up. But even if you get up to 7 or 8 mutas, that's still not really that impressive. 8 would be something. It would, but we're not even there yet. We're at 2. And then he's building another Nidus Worm as well. Focus on one thing. Gotta focus on one thing. Gotta choose one avenue and then just really stick to it. And mutas are a fine enough avenue. If you had spent all of your money in mutas, you'd have actually about 8 mutas at this point. 9 mutas. And that would be kind of scary for the Protoss to deal with. They'd be pinned back at home so much more than they could do to you. Because the mutas would be going after the mineral lines, taking on stalkers if they're apart from each other. They'd be scouting that the Zerg player could go just bananas with drones. The Balthazar is not really thinking along those lines. Yeah. This game's gonna go on for a while yet, though. Natural hatchery is finally finished. Finally getting some more drones. Currently supply blocked because of the Overlord kill. But the mutas will finally show themselves. And there's no static defense. The probes will go down. Stalkers respond about as quickly as possible, but already grabbing 3 or 4 probes into the main base. We'll grab 2 more at least. At least! Ah! Okay, they grabbed 2. I don't think they really can do very much against this Nexus. I don't know why they're thinking they can. Oh, is Warp 8 still not done? Oh my god! Wait, what? Oh, it just finished. Okay. Alright, I thought he forgot it. That was awkward timing. It took a long time, though. Finally, Warp 8's done. So 6 Stalkers against 6 mutas. 2 mutas still at home. Stalkers be alright there. They'd be fine. There we go. There we go. Now getting to it. Need a bit more cash, as the probes have been pulled this way and that. The one bites the dust, and then the rest of the probes we save for the shield battery. The mutas have started it. You know, the mutas have started what I was talking about. They got a little damage done. They were able to scout. Now you could go up to even 45 drones. You could maybe start investing into some lings or roaches to clear up these cannons, get a 3rd hatchery. But apparently this guy's just gonna go into an infestation pit, go for swarm hosts. I mean, I don't think it's a terrible idea if you have a solid base, but I don't think the base is there. He doesn't really have his feet under him. So to swap from muta, 2 base muta, wait, 1 base muta really, but 2 base muta to 2 base swarm host. don't think it's going to be the 1-2 punch that he was hoping for. I don't know. Uh-oh. Well, this is not great. Using 2, almost 3 mutas. Oh, don't go back in. Okay. Can't believe these cans are still alive. They could be cleaned up. Balthazar is not thinking about it. There's so much money, he's gonna get a macro hatchery instead. I didn't even take a hidden hatchery. I mean, you're the one with the map control. That'd be so much better. A Nidus Worm? Seriously? He doesn't even have that many lings. Ah, actually, that's okay. No, never mind. More pops. Still. I don't know about this one. The lings coming out one at a time especially are gonna be bad. Alright. Shield battery in the main, though. Cannon's almost finished as well, which means that these Stalkers are going to do fine. There's even an overcharge if necessary. Stalker's doing brilliant against this so far. More lings are here, however. The Queen even enjoys the fray. Could actually transfuse the mutas. That would be the most worthwhile transfuse there. Nope, not going to happen, though. This game's pretty wild. If Balthazar would just have a concrete plan of attack, you know, if like just put everything into one thing or another. All into economy, all into mutas, all into Ling Nidus Worm. Like, I feel like this guy would have already won. But it feels a bit half-assed with everything he's done. So Buster Nut is doing fine enough. He's cleaned up all of the mutas at this point. Only one's alive thanks to the transfuse. Nidus Worm still not being entirely emptied is another problem that Balthazar's had a couple of times at this point. Buster Nut is even adding on some gases, more production. If he goes up to a Templar Archives, would be helpful. I think Link would be the first priority, however. That would be really nice to have. But Immortal joins the fray, a little bit of extra DPS. Doesn't actually do any extra damage against any of these units, but extra DPS is always nice. And the Nidus Worm will have to be the escape path. For like, what, 1 queen? 2 queens, and then a bunch of lings that had never been spilled out. You just, I mean... Generally, some good advice is to hotkey your Nidus Worm. So you always are trying to unload it. But even if you don't hotkey the Nidus Worm, you should be like clicking back on it and trying to unload it. A 2-base hive. A 2-base hive. What are you gonna get on 2 bases with Hive? Ultras? A Greater Spire? He's gonna go for a Greater Spire, isn't he? Do I even hate that? I don't think I actually hate it. If he just builds a lot of lings and then saves all of his gas, expands as well, double, triple expand, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Link still isn't here. There's no Stargate. Dark Shrine is scouted. Enough stack defense at this point, so the mutas are gonna struggle to get damage done unless they're fully committed to. Which this guy is not very good at committing. DT already grabbing a couple of kills in the main. Natural was covered by Spine and Overseers. DT's not doing a whole lot, but definitely still good to have. Buy some time, get some scouting done. Saw the Hive, but didn't see anything else with it. Their Nexus is gonna be canceled. And the mutas find it a bit too fast. There's the cancel. Still no blink here from Buster Nut. I just don't think he thought about it. Again, so much stack defense. Really questionable for the mutas to attack into that main. Natural's a little bit better. There's only 1 cannon, which eventually gets taken down. But the mutas have already been taken down a number. They're very unhealthy. They gotta get away. And the wall is still up, so the lings can't do much. But they can jump on top of a bunch of Stalkers. However, the Stalkers with +1 against the lings with absolutely 0 upgrades means the Stalkers do not have a bad time of things. They were also all piled up against each other, so they're kind of walling each other off from the ling surround. Would have been much better if there was more lings, if the mutas had come along as well, or if the lings had upgrades. Which apparently they will. They'll have adrenal glands before they have any other upgrades. +2 flyer, that's great. But just having adrenal glands doesn't really make them cracklings. I mean, I guess you could argue semantics here, but I don't know. No. Get +1 on them. And it's an Ultraless Cavern as well, so not having any Carapace upgrades means these Ultras are they're gonna suck. if you get the Ultraless Carapace upgrade... How much is the Ultraless Carapace upgrade now? It's 2? No, it's 3. These stalkers are in the middle of nowhere. They'd be as upgraded as if you had just done regular upgrades. I suppose for cheaper, though. It's always that. But why no upgrades? 2 evolution chambers came down, still not being used. Balthazar's on 4 bases, but only 22 workers. Finally realizes his problem, builds 15 more, and certainly has the larva for it. Archon's been included, a couple of more Immortals. I mean, it is Ultralisk, so... Yeah, that makes sense. 2-1 as well on the Stalkers. If only they had Blink. They do have Blink. Nice. Charge being researched. And this is quite a good setup against someone going for Ling Ultra. Especially because Ling Ultra's not upgraded. 1-1's on the way. Chitinous plating is done. So going into Sack Defense, going into a wall. Here comes the rest of the army. Archons can help out so much against the Lings. They'll be able to tank the Ultra shots. The DTs are there as well, and there's no Overseer quite yet here. Finally, they come in. The DTs will be cleaned up, as will the probes, but all of the Ultras are going to lose their lives here. Stalkers and Immortals are very good against the leftover composition, which is only Ultras at this point. And they have those upgrades as well. If Busternut had been in position to protect the gateways, protect the Sack Defense, this would have been one of the easiest holds. They had pulled away the probes, so it would have been a very healthy probe count, but it is a little bit more questionable because the probes died, because the third base died. Balthazar might be able to work with this. Needs to rebuild, though. Lost a lot of Ultras, 4 more are on the way, and possibly these ones would have 1-1 upgrades. Plus Heightening, so what, 4-1? We have time for that. Third base goes down. Drones can be transferred over to the 4th, though, pretty easily. That's not a big deal yet. But it looks like he's abandoning both bases. Oh, he's pulling the drones? I don't know what he's doing. But that's not all of his army. He needs to actually F2 here. Where's the... That's not all of his army. The Lings are actually pretty crucial in these types of engagements. If the Lings take shots from the Immortals or the Stalkers, the Ultras can actually connect. If the Lings aren't here, the Ultras are the easiest things to target down, which has happened here. And now the drones are what's trying to provide that fodder for the Ultras, and that doesn't work out too well, especially because DTs have once been added in. The Overseer, I guess, died, or the second one didn't come along, or something along those lines. But Balthazar, the mass Lings is more potent than the Ultras against what Busternut has. Just being able to build, like, 60 Lings would be much more intimidating. Finally cleans up the Protoss army, but only after the army kills 2 bases, kills like a bunch of Ultras, kills drones, and Busternut has his own third base back up and running. Sack Defense isn't done, however. Busternut needs to go ahead and get over there ASAP. He's trying to respond after the recall. Losing his Sack Defense once again, but I think the composition's fine. No Overseer means the DTs themselves can clean this up, but they don't even have to. The Immortal and Stalker combo is so powerful right here. The Immortal is going to get taken out eventually. They've added so many shots, and the Stalkers can micro the little hearts out. And that is going to be it for the Ultras. Lings are on top of the probes, so reducing that probe count. This is a very low supply game. Always has been. But Busternut has the greater potential to retain his units. They're better upgraded. They got that blink. Whereas Balthazar is just investing into nothing but Lings, which, you know, are actually fantastic, but they don't retain. You don't micro each individual Ling and make sure that they're alive. How's the reel going? It's not going. I'm not producing it, first of all. And then second of all, I've only just started the process of like talking to an editor, so it's a bit of jumping the gun. A Nidus Swarm will surely solve all of this guy's problems. Absolutely. And with the queens popping out of the Nidus Worm, I'm gonna go ahead and say this game's over. GG.